Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpeer.
Howdy.
And the Nymph.
Hello.
Last week, this is the second half of our 2-episode special, our end of the year recap. We're on vacation, probably happily. So last week we talked about wrapping up 2021, the year that was. Last week we put out our top 10 episode. This week, as we are wont to do, we're going to look forward to 2022. We're going to go through not only the games we were looking forward to around this time last year, we're going to go through the predictions that we in the community predicted for 2021. We're going to talk about what we think for 2022. We're also going to crown the winner of Most Correctest for the year of 2021. Last year's winner, an upset by Late Elf, dethroning the long reign of the Hannahs. We'll see who takes the crown this year.
Can we get him on one episode one year just so we can call him a host for that year and then have all his results be null and void again?
Yeah, we'll get him on the predictions episode every year so he can just be null. We do essentially give a score for community members just to see who wins. Us three as the hosts. We don't get a score ourselves.
We win nothing.
That's right. It would be a little unfair if we won. We give full or half points, depending on how we're feeling about it. And then at the end, we're going to talk about what games we're going to look forward to in 2022. And hopefully they will come out. Hopefully they won't all come out February 22nd, 2022. Last little bit of news here. The most important disclaimer. None of us have any prior knowledge of anything in the industry. These are all educated guesses and nothing more. So we don't buy stock. Don't buy stock in general for anything we say. But especially don't race out and say, "Oh, I'm going to buy Microsoft stock because TVGP."
No, Boston, you messed up already, dude.
Yes.
Buy stock in patreon.com/E1M1.
The marketing, you got it. The ones are numbers. We definitely don't want to forget. Yes, go sign up there. And as we talk about every year, we're going to do Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, and industry general predictions. So start here at the top. Games we were looking forward to in 2021. Based on last year, Moon, you were up first with Mass Effect Remastered, which I don't think you've gotten to play yet.
Haven't started yet.
Okay. The Medium.
Played it the day it came out, beat it the week it came out.
There you go. Everspace 2, which is now, I think, coming out in 2023. Whoops. Gotham Knights, parenthetically, if it comes out.
Nope.
Not even a window
Guess
yet.
Guess what's on the list later on in this list?
There you go. Resident Evil Village, which did come out this year, and you did play.
Yeah.
Stalker 2, which did slip out of this year.
Guess what's on the list at the end of this list?
2021's been a hard game dev year. Skatebird, which did come out this year.
Did come out again? Didn't play it.
There you go. Speaking of, Axiom Verge 2.
Yep, did come out. Unfortunately, it's not on a platform I play frequently, so therefore I will wait.
There you go. And lastly, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, which the publisher is not telling us who's developing it, so who knows when that thing is coming out. Nymph, you had Ys 9 Monstrum Nox, which I believe did come out this year, right?
It did. Played
Nice.
it, beat it, had a fun time.
Disgaea 6, as we learned about all your automation fun this year.
That actually got a lot of playtime recently.
There you go. Atelier Ryza 2, which it actually came out this year, right?
Yes, it did.
Okay. Everspace 2, which will come out at some point. Persona 5 Strikers.
I did play it, still haven't beaten it yet.
Okay. Bravely Default 2, which
Still haven't gotten to it.
did actually come out this year, and I keep forgetting.
I just need to double check. Persona 5
Yeah.
Strikers, that's the Musu game, not the soccer game.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. I'm sorry. Thanks, Mario. You can't put Strikers in a thing without me
Right.
thinking soccer.
Yeah, exactly. That would be a pretty great game. SMT3 HD and SMT5, both of those did come out this year. And lastly, Tales of Arise. So most of your games actually did come out this year, which is...
And I did manage to beat almost all of those that were listed.
Nice. Man, having a
very
good
surprising feat. Yeah.
year. Yeah. My list started with Skull and Bones. Continued with Atelier Ryza 2, Outriders, which I wrote as this is the People Can Fly non-live service Destiny thing, which I guess now isn't that incorrect, which I have never played. Bravely Default 2, Guilty Gear Strive, which looks really great, and I don't know where I would find the time to play that. Deathloop, which its marketing continually turned me off the entire year until I just didn't buy it or play it.
Oh, really? I honestly thought you'd played that.
Nope. I every time they released a new trailer, I was just like, yeah, I'm not. You are unselling me on this thing. I'll play it at some point because like it's an Arcane Studios game, so I will probably like it, but it's not high on the list.
Game Pass 1?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully.
This year.
Yeah, at some point in 2022, yeah. Axiom Verge 2, which I still need to go back and finish. Everspace 2, Horizon Forbidden West, LOL. Mass Effect Legendary Edition, Neo, The World Ends With You, which I didn't get anywhere close to playing. Psychonauts 2, which I should finish, but I will not have the time yet. SMT3 Remaster and SMT5, and Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, LOL. All right, let's talk about our predictions for Microsoft for the year 2021. We'll start here with Moon. He says, Microsoft buys at least 2 studios. That's my gimme. Microsoft
This was the Bethesda year, wasn't it?
So here's the tough part is it's hard to figure out. It could be either 2020 or 2021 because Microsoft plopped the money down in late 2020 and then in early 2021 it all got approved and like the purchase finally went through. So
yeah, they had to do the legals this year.
Yeah. So understandably, ZeniMax is the quote-unquote the only purchase they made this year because they bought like 15 studios at once. So I would say that definitely counts for a lot. You predict that Gold, Xbox Live Gold finally goes away. Quote, they have to be phasing it out, end quote. They made more steps this year. They dropped Gold as a requirement for free-to-play games. And they opened up Party Chat and LFG to non-Gold people. And then I think a lot of Microsoft's plan for Gold is saying like, look over here. And over there is just Game Pass. Yeah, Game Pass is just standing over there like, oh, hello. I also come with Gold and free games or whatever, but Game Pass. So I feel like any moment now, Microsoft could probably put out a press release and be like, yeah, you can't just buy Gold by itself anymore. Just buy Game Pass. Come on, it's all wrapped together.
I mean, at this point, it already, like, until you guys had mentioned something, didn't even cross my mind that Gold existed anymore.
Yeah, 100%. Until I went back and listened to last year's episode, I was just like, oh, Gold. Oh, I need to Google whether or not that still exists. And it does, but, just go buy Game Pass. And your third prediction here is that Microsoft releases the X Stick. It's like a Chromecast, which surprisingly didn't happen this year.
Close.
Maybe
So close.
Maybe due to chip problems, that has not been a priority.
Yeah,
but,
that's true.
Nimp, you start off with saying mine are almost the same as Moon's. You predict Gold will go away and free Gold games will go away. Which surprisingly, they're still doing Game Pass and the games with Gold. Which
The funny thing about the games with Gold thing is it's getting harder and harder every update to find those things.
Yeah, they keep
Yes.
burying them under different menus.
You search for it, and they're like, "Don't you mean Game Pass?" It's like, no, hold on.
You know I have Game Pass.
That's right. Microsoft will continue to buy studios, and streaming console rumors will come to fruition this year. That last one's really interesting because they're really making a push for xCloud on consoles, especially for Xbox One and Series S consoles. Just to say, like, hey man, if you want to play this thing in like 4K and 60 frames and all that stuff, you can do that on xCloud. No big problem. Can't find a Series X? You got xCloud. So I wonder if that's the direction they're going to go, as opposed to having like an even smaller streaming focused box. My predictions were we'll see Microsoft roll out a smart TV based version of xCloud this year, even if it's in limited beta. They haven't done that, but Phil Spencer keeps talking about it this year, saying like, yeah, we're working on it. You know, that's the natural place we're going to go. You know, it's not there yet. So somehow Stadia just beat them on my TV to having an app, which is wild. I said, I think we'll see Microsoft convince one large publisher to have their games day and date on Game Pass, like Activision, EA, etc., someone really big. EA Play came to Game Pass this year, so like...
True. I think that counts.
Yeah, I think it's in the spirit of it, but maybe not necessarily in the... You almost expect that to be like Ubisoft. You know, it's like, all right, all Ubisoft games are coming day and date to Game Pass, but it seems like a big ask. I said I don't think Microsoft rocks the boat at all this year. They want to get new consoles in as many people's hands as they can and keep pushing Game Pass as hard as they can. Which, yeah, they're trying to make consoles and they're just putting first party and a lot of second and third party stuff on Game Pass. So like, that's the winning move for now. And my last one here is I think Halo Infinite launches to middling reviews. I can't predict the specific reason. It's reviewing high 80s, low 90s, so that is definitely not the case. That is universally praised.
Is it high 80s, high 90s? It was released in 2 different installments and still is reviewed highly.
Yeah, so it'll be fine. Yeah. All right, let's move to our community ones. This is where we're going to start giving people some points. Monkey Senior says the next iteration of the Xbox Elite controller is revealed, and please keep naming with incremental numbers and not Xbox Elite Controller Series X. I had to look this up. I didn't realize the Elite Series 2 came out in 2019. I could have sworn this came out this year. I'm pretty sure it came out real late 2019, aka the start of 2020, aka what happened to that year. Great question. I think Microsoft from a accessories standpoint was really pushing the design labs this year for the brand new Xbox controller, and then like special editions of the Elite, like the Halo one came out and stuff like that. So we didn't see, hey, here's the Elite Series 3, because I don't think they're really there yet. Second prediction here is Halo Infinite is high in everyone's Game of the Year list. Less of a prediction and more of a hope that the game is amazing. That's probably a safe bet. We record these episodes a lot easier than kind of everybody in the larger industry does. Most people are like, it's January, let's do our Game of the Year for 2021. I feel like that's a safe assumption that Halo Infinite, either half of it will show up on a lot of the Game of the Year lists, but a little early for us to say that.
Come see me in 2022.
Yeah. Come talk to you in January. His last prediction, they somehow convinced Nintendo to put a Game Pass app that allows xCloud gaming on the Switch. I was thinking that was a shoo-in for especially how close Microsoft and Nintendo have been over the last 2 years or so, but we haven't seen really, other than Minecraft, really haven't seen too much going on.
I was going to say, I'm curious if it's because of the whole Wi-Fi limitations of the Switch and how pain in the backside it is to wire that thing up.
Yeah.
But then I realized that I've been doing cloud gaming off my phone, but
Yeah.
Well, did they ever release that Netflix app for Switch, or is that still?
Oh man, I think that just recently came out, like in the last month.
I couldn't remember if
think.
it did come out or if they were still talking about doing it.
Yeah, I think it's either like it just came out or it's any day now. I don't remember. Optimus Servo predicts purchase at least 2 studios. I guess give him a half a point or a point for that one because they bought like 17. Series X Edition Elite controller. So like we were talking about in the previous one. Not quite yet, but I feel like Series 3 will come out at some point. Curveball. Phil Spencer retires. Which no, he's still kicking. Still
I think that he's gonna outlive us all, and he's still gonna be in charge of that damn company.
Yeah,
which is good because the things he's done for that company are incredible.
Yeah, he's been doing great. The Hannah predicts Halo Infinite will come out in the second half of 2021. So the point. Starfield gets a non-2021 release date. I'd look this up. It's November 11th, 2022. So that's a point.
Allegedly.
Yeah. The tentative release date.
This is Bethesda.
Yeah. Free tier for Game Pass with a small, frequently rotating selection of games to give potential subscribers a taste. Surprisingly not. I think Game Pass is doing so well at this point that they're just kind of leaving it alone. And like, hey, if you want to get on Game Pass, your first month is $1. And half of the time you can find the first 3 months for $1. So like, that's the easiest way for someone to take a taste of that one. T-Bomb Rocks predicts the Xbox Series line of consoles will not support any form of VR. That's a +1. Ubisoft will merge Uplay Plus into Game Pass. I think the only thing that happened with Ubisoft this year is they have some of their older games on Game Pass now. But it's not the Uplay thing where it's like, yeah, you pay a monthly fee and then you got the new stuff. And its third prediction here is Atlas games will come to Game Pass. I don't think we saw anything from Atlas on the Xbox in general. I could not.
So. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's the least surprising thing, but also the problem. But yeah, unfortunately,
but we got all the Yakuza games.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's at least Sega is like, hey,
it's a step.
This Game Pass thing is really doing it. And it's like, yeah, it really is.
For a lot of Americans who don't understand how off the wall Japanese gaming can really be.
Yeah. Yeah. Go play Yakuza 0. It's so good. All right, let's move on to our predictions for Microsoft in the upcoming year, 2022. Start off with you, Moon.
Okay. At least 10 non-Microsoft owned day one Game Pass deals. So hopefully that made sense. It's a long, annoying sentence.
Okay.
So 10 games at least next year will come out day one Game Pass that are not published or developed by Microsoft. So anything by Bethesda doesn't count. Anything by
second and third party stuff.
Yes. Gotcha. And I have written that tiny indies don't count. So if it's a pixelated cross shooter that nobody's ever heard of and it just gets pooped onto Game Pass, I don't count that. And I feel bad because saying this prediction out loud makes me realize how much work Boston has to do now because of me.
A lot of Googling this time next year. Yeah, because it sounds like what you're talking about is kind of the AA and AAA games where it's like, oh, that's coming to Game Pass day one? Yeah, awesome. Great.
Like the People Can Fly game this year. That would be a great example of one of them. Dying Light would be another great example of one of them.
It's one of those games you were going to buy anyway, and now you don't have to.
Exactly.
Right.
Like, my brain is shot. The Arcane Time Loop game.
Deathloop.
Thank you. Like that. But obviously that's produced by Microsoft now, so that doesn't count.
They got them all.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
A Game Pass app for TVs. I'm going the opposite direction this time.
Right.
I'm not thinking a stick. I'm thinking just put the bloody app on the television, people. Like, who cares? Just get it on there.
Yeah, sync your Bluetooth controller to your TV and just play games.
And honestly, my final prediction is a bit of a weird one. You can dock or not dock me as is. The For the Gamers message continues, which is to say Phil Spencer continues the same branding, the same messages. It's like, I don't care what you've got. If you've got a PC, if you've got a mobile phone, if you've got an X, a One, an S, we make games, we put them out on our platforms. You guys play them. That's what we do.
Yeah.
None of this crap about how it's like, oh, obviously it's going to be console exclusives, but they tend to care less if you're playing on the Xbox or the PC. Or even the streaming side. Like, they just don't care.
Yeah. They I think you're going to see a lot more, especially over the next 2 years, you're probably going to see a lot more quote-unquote Microsoft exclusive stuff that they're going to be really pushing, like Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6. And their message really is like, all right, you don't have a Series X? That's fine. You probably have a PC or a tablet or a phone or a TV or an X stick. Or, like, there's this list of, like, here are 7 different ways to play this game. You can play on any of them with your Game Pass subscription. Like, they're really... I agree with you. I think that's a good one.
I cannot wait for them to stop saying console exclusive and start saying Game Pass exclusive at those E3 shows.
Yeah, because they probably will drop the Xbox exclusive branding too, and just say like it's coming to Game Pass, a Game Pass platform. Yeah, that I think that's a good prediction.
The app is called Xbox Game Pass, and that's where you do your streaming from. So it wouldn't surprise me if they kept the Xbox part, but I think they're just going to drop the word console completely.
Yep, because they're
still going to push it. They're still going to sell it.
Yeah, but a couple of weeks ago they rebranded Game Pass on PC to just be called Game Pass for PC. So they're kind of aligning all of this stuff together. So yeah, nice. Nymph, what do you have for your predictions?
Well, my first one was that Microsoft was going to be pushing streaming a lot harder this year because of people not being able to get consoles. The other half of that was them also releasing an app. Across the board, mobile, computer, PC. I didn't even think of TV, but TV would probably be a good one for smart TVs.
Yep.
Just like I said, just so that they could start getting that money, even though people don't have the console yet because of shortages. But I guess that would also depend on people's internet usage too, because we all know America doesn't have great internet once you get outside of a city limit somewhere. But
it's a good stopgap to say, like, no, we don't have a ton of consoles, but you have something that can play Game Pass already.
Yeah. It doesn't have great internet when you're in the cities. Come on, let's be real about this.
That's fair.
That's true. Yeah. My next one is that Microsoft buys Sega.
Wow. Okay.
I hope.
That's a wild
initiative
one.
Into getting into Japan territory.
All right.
But to put the final nail in that coffin of getting into Japan, they also buy Konami.
Oh man.
Okay.
Oh, that'd be wild.
Out of the two of them, who do you think they would have the stones to buy? Because Konami makes a lot of money in pachinko machines.
I feel like they would probably do Sega first.
Just because they've already got a good partnership going with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I don't know which one would be crazier, to be honest.
Yeah, man, I don't know.
It's just, I would like, if they're going to go with Konami, I would like to see them buy out the games division. Like, buy the company as a whole, whatever. And then just say, you guys do what you do. We're just taking the games division so we can make games now.
Yeah.
You just keep going with your pachinko stuff.
Yeah.
But those were my 3 crazy ones right there.
My predictions for this year is xCloud doesn't really have any major new features this year, largely because it works well enough already. Like, I don't think it has anything, like over the last couple of years, we've seen auto HDR and frame boosting and stuff like that for backwards compatibility. I don't think we're really going to see that for xCloud because it's just, here's the best versions of the game that is delivered via xCloud. I'd like to be proven wrong, but it largely seems like a technology that maybe gets faster, maybe gets a little smoother, but no big major, like, here's a press release about this new feature. On the other side of the coin, I have a sneaking suspicion that Microsoft will announce some backwards compatibility feature that is some sort of dark magic that we can't live without. I'm not sure what that is, but I feel like it like we talked about a minute ago with like auto HDR and frame boosting and stuff like that. Like, I feel like they'll have another piece of technology that they're investing in that's just like, oh, wow, okay, you're doing all right. Backwards compatible games can do that. Okay, great, cool. And my wild prediction this year, I don't think Microsoft buys any studios this year. I think
interesting.
I think they're going to put like the nose to the grindstone and get these like 30-something studios they own to just put stuff out. Like the Fable game isn't out. Halo is going to have a really long tail on it. The next Forza motorsport game isn't out. And like sort of slipped in favor of Forza Horizon 5. So like they have a lot of irons in the fire right now. And I'm sure they will continue to buy things in the future, but I feel like this year is a real like nose down, get these games out, get them on Game Pass. Starfield is supposed to come out this year. Like there's a lot of really big, really anticipated games that just need to get out the door.
Yeah, I mean, come on, they need to get at least, they need to find 3 platforms that Skyrim hasn't been released on yet.
Exactly. Yeah.
They start running down the list of the Internet of Things.
Exactly. We already put it on Alexa. What else can we put it on? All right, let's think about community's predictions for Microsoft in 2022. Late Elf starts by saying, I see them acquiring 2 smaller companies that can position towards future VR. Nothing showy about the names, but tech infrastructure. I feel like if Microsoft gets into VR, that's probably the way that they'll do it early on. Like they've been investing so much in their tech infrastructure for backwards compatibility and xCloud and Azure and stuff like that. I feel like that might be an interesting prediction for this year to see if they're going to do VR stuff and if they're going to, who they get. Says it looks like it's time for another flavor of Game Pass. New variety may not launch 2022, but it'll be discussed. No idea what it is yet. Feels like this is kind of counter to what we've been talking about before, which is take Game Pass and put it on as many platforms as possible.
Yeah,
this is like a splintering of Game Pass. Is like there's a new Game Pass Platinum level that does something.
I think if they're gonna do it, they go down one. I think they take out. They go to like $5-10 a month and do the streaming only. Like that's the stuff you get for your television.
Right.
That's the stuff you get for your phone. Is the Game Pass cloud service.
Or they do something like GeForce Now, where it's like, here's a smaller amount every month, but you only have X number of hours to play either at a time or kind of over the month streaming.
Oh man, you can buy Game Pass time cards.
Yeah, that's
like the
exactly.
old track phones.
Yep. Get your World of Warcraft cards here.
Heading back to AOL.
Yeah, exactly. Your Game Pass DVD came in the mail. He also says uses some big stick diplomacy with companies facing HR issues, moderating the playground on a surface level for PR. Maybe that they are continue to be a large enough player in the industry that they can throw their weight around in some pretty serious ways. So we saw Sony not selling Cyberpunk this year on PSN. So if Microsoft wants to really put the hurt to some of these companies, they could do a very similar thing and have it be very impactful. T-Bomb Rock says Microsoft will include a feature to make local co-op / multiplayer games to be played over Xbox Live with anyone. I didn't really read these while I pasted them into this document. that would probably go nicely with my backwards compatibility improvement that might happen this year. If that happens, I'll take credit. Sorry, T-Brom. But yeah, that would be one of those where it's like, oh, now I can play these cool couch co-op games together with anybody. He predicts Game Pass will no longer be multi-tiered and have some sort of one price for all services for $12.99 a month. I feel like that might be the extension of, I don't know, what we're talking about with collapsing Gold and Game Pass and xCloud and all that stuff into just, here's Game Pass, your Game Pass subscription, it also comes with all these features. And this is probably a safe one. Microsoft will continue to be the ambassador for gaming accessibility by releasing a physical peripheral for the visually impaired. If anybody's going to do it at this point, it will probably be Microsoft, and it will probably be hundreds or thousands of dollars less than whatever some other company is doing. So,
yeah.
Fayror says Game Pass will continue to be amazing. I feel like that's probably a free point. The middle of the bingo card.
You don't know. Every year is a new year, and someone can screw something up.
That's true. Yeah, they could pull a Sony out of nowhere. We will see a smaller version of the Series X announced. I'm going to be curious to see if they do anything with hardware this year. Chip shortages mean that a lot of that continues to be a wild card. But are they going to shrink down the X? Are they going to make it less dense from a weight standpoint? Like who really knows? And they say PC will be neglected. Hopefully not. I mean, they seem to be doing pretty nicely on the PC side, but hopefully they'll continue. The Hannah says Game Pass will get a price increase before end of year 2. Microsoft tried to increase the price of Gold. I think it was this past year, if not really late 2020. So if they're going to increase the price of anything, it will probably be Game Pass. And it will probably... People will complain about it, and will probably not be that big of an issue because it's still the really great value if you play like more than 3 or 4 games a year. Like, you're still making your money back.
Sure.
They'll announce a streaming-only device similar to a Roku or Chromecast. He'll carry the torch for all of us this year. And they will either develop or publish a game that requires Windows 11 to run. Really waiting to see who's gonna pull that trigger first. We'll see if it's a Microsoft studio or not. And see if Starfield is that one where it's like, oh, with how big this game is, you really need to run Windows 11. It's a free upgrade. Wink. So we'll see. Monkey Senior says no new game studio acquisitions. He's agreeing with my predictions here of keeping the wallet closed this year. HDR/Dolby Vision toggle added for the home screen, so my screen doesn't keep going going back and forth between game and home. Please, I'm tired of it. Also, not the biggest problem in the world, but it would be nice. And Xbox Live Gold is discontinued. All right, let's talk about our predictions for Nintendo in 2021. Moon, you said 0 new hardware, which I'm giving you credit for because I feel like the SWOLED, the OLED Switch, kinda counts, but kind of isn't because there's no new Joy-Cons, there's no bigger battery, the dock is different, but not that much. The screen is really the selling point, but no more RAM, no more CPU. There's a little bit more internal memory. Like, it's not, to me, it's not new hardware. It's like a 0.2 revision. It's not even a half step.
Okay.
Personally,
I'll take any points I can get at this point. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, your safe prediction from this year is the store will be broken, will be full of, quote, absolute garbage, end quote, and they will ignore the problem, which, yeah, a couple weeks ago they just put out a new filter for the store that's most played in your region, but that doesn't solve the problem. So they're just going to valve it up and I think just ignore the problem. So, okay.
Yeah.
You said no new big 3 releases. Mario, Zelda, Metroid are the big 3. We actually got a Metroid game this year. Shockingly.
Yep.
Out of nowhere, Metroid Dread was announced and actually came out after,
and seems to be relatively okay with the exception of ridiculously difficult boss battles, according to people.
Yeah, it got well reviewed, which is another game I just did not get around to in 2021. And your last prediction, yes. In your last prediction here, we'll see a brand new Wave Race game, which sadly did not happen. We did see a new Cruisin' game, which is also just as wild as a new Wave Race game, but definitely not the same.
I want Wave Race.
Yeah,
Wave Race.
I do
Wave
too.
Race.
I feel like any month now, an indie developer will just announce a new Wave Race game that they made, but it's called, Splash Race.
Race Wave. Come on, kid.
That's right. Nymph, you predicted Nintendo will keep releasing AR products like Labo, which they dropped that like a hot potato pretty immediately in 2021, which is still kind of a bummer. Like, those were cool things. I just don't think they sold.
No.
Yeah. And we will see something from Microsoft on the Switch, not counting Minecraft, which, surprisingly not. I thought we would see something on there, but we didn't. We really
Ori was the year before, wasn't it?
I think it was late 2020. Yeah. I predicted. I really see Nintendo keeping to pushing out the games they've already committed to, which, I mean, I guess they didn't put out that much, so I'm not sure if that even counts for half a point. But the greatest hits of Mario Party came out this year, so I guess we'll count that maybe. I said I don't think we'll see any new hardware this year. Maybe more rumors, but the Switch is selling so well at this point. Why mess with it? Yeah, I mean, yeah, the SWOLED is the same thing with a screen on it, so pretty much. And Metroid Prime 4's release window gets announced, but it won't be coming out until 2022. I don't think they talked about Metroid Prime 4 in the entire year of 2021. So things probably vaporware at this point. Sorry. All right, let's move on to our community predictions. Monkey Senior says achievements are added to the Switch, probably integrated into the Switch Online app. Sort of surprisingly, Nintendo still does not seem to care about achievements in any form or fashion, which has to be some sort of ethos of theirs at this point, I guess. But man,
they don't care about achievements or stores or anything like that.
The internet,
or anything that anything touches the internet.
Yeah, online gaming, none of that. The Game Boy Advance is added to the Nintendo Switch Online section. I feel like we've seen rumors of that for the last couple of months, but nothing firm from what I understand. N64 is on there now getting drip fed. So, and folders are added to the Switch's home UI, which, sorry, no folders, no themes, no nothing. Optimus Servo says no new hardware. That's probably worth like a half point, like we've been talking about. It's kind of new, kind of not. Breath of the Wild gets a 2022 release date. I don't even think
it did, actually.
Are they still saying it's a release window for 2022?
Let me verify that real quick.
Yeah. And Curveball, a Sony platform exclusive character, comes to Smash Brothers. Not really. I mean, someone could have probably argued that Sora is a Sony exclusive, but not really anymore. But yeah, nothing. Smash is over. Sakurai can rest.
Yeah. It's a tenuous date still of 2022.
Okay, so it's definitely slipping into like late 2023.
But who knows? It may just get shoved out February with everything else. Why not?
Exactly. Yeah, God. The Hannah says a new Switch SKU is announced. Another half point for that. Breath of the Wild 2 release date announced. No, the same as before. And Zelda Maker announced and or released with 2 crossing fingers emojis, which sadly not. I mean, they pretend like Mario Maker 2 doesn't exist, so they're not talking about any other Maker games.
I mean, come on, Zelda Maker was kind of in the latest like DS version, wasn't it? Where you had to make the dungeons in Awakening.
Yeah, Link Awakens in the Switch one. Yeah, sort of. You could make some dungeons in there. That's true. But unfortunately not to the level. No Nintendo fan is ever going to be happy, but I don't think that was really the spirit of the thing. T-Bomb Rock says Nintendo will start to lighten up on their strict streaming agreements. No, I don't. They're not going to budge on that. I don't think they understand Twitch in general. So I don't think they're still shutting down Smash tournaments. So until they stop that, I don't think there's really any hope. A Castlevania collection of Game Boy Advance games will be remastered for the Switch. Sort of. Not really a remaster, but a collection. I even have a point for that. It also thankfully came out for everything else, which is great. That collection is super great. And T-Bomb Rock says Reggie's body is still ready. Which probably. Maybe. Let's talk about our predictions for this upcoming year. Moon, what are your predictions for Nintendo for 2022?
Switch 2 announced. Or whatever the hell they're going to call it. The Switch HD, the Switch 2, the Switch
proper
whatever.
Follow-up.
Yes,
Pro.
they actually...
Right.
Yes,
the dimmer Switch.
Oh, boy.
I quit.
Because it's Nintendo, it has to be something that doesn't make sense, like dimmer Switch, because everyone's like, well, dimmer, it's going to be worse than the regular Switches. And it's like, no, this is the newer version you guys have been wanting, the 4K one.
That's right. It's just less bright.
Nintendo Switch All-Stars, you mean?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, they announced the sequel to the Switch, whatever the hell it's called.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not released. It's only talked about because, supply chain issues.
Right.
They're not going to do anything. Let's take some wild guesses here. GameCube games come out on Nintendo Online.
Oh, okay.
They're drip feeding the N64 ones. Let's start with some GameCube ones. Let's get Wave Race in there. Both.
Yeah.
Let's
F-Zero GX.
A form of Wave Race comes out on a Switch.
Right. You'll take what you can get.
One way or the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, F-Zero DX was insane. That was the fastest game I'd ever played at that time.
It's so good.
Zelda does not come out this year.
Okay.
And we get a new Pokemon game tease. A new console Pokemon game tease.
Okay.
We already have one.
No, like the next one after that, not the semi-open world thing. Not the big Halo of Pokemon.
The Legends one?
Yeah. Nymph, what are your predictions?
Alright, I got my pie in the sky one, which is Nintendo will fix their voice chat so that you don't need a cell phone for it anymore, just in time for Splatoon 3.
Well, if anything is going to push them to do it, it would be Splatoon. That's yeah. All right.
My next one is that Nintendo will really fix, really this time, guys, fix drift issues with controllers.
For real this time. For finally. Right.
And then my one that will probably win over everything, Nintendo just continues to shrug along.
Yeah, just like, hey man, we're doing our own thing. Whoops, fell into another pile of money. Oh no.
For better or for worse, Nintendo's just going to keep going along, doing its own thing.
Yeah. My prediction is this year, I think chip shortages and the recent release of the OLED Switch will mean we don't see any new hardware this year. I don't think they talk about it. I think there might be like some R&D leaks that turn into, they're testing a new chip from Qualcomm for a brand new
this year.
Pretty much, and then someone will say, "Is it the Switch Pro?" And then the internet trends on Twitter for a day, and then that's about it. I don't think Metroid Prime gets a release date or window the entire year. I think that thing is either dead in the water, or they are a couple years off from delivering that to something. It will be a good story to read in a couple of years, but I think something major is happening with the development of that game.
I think at this point it's a lot more believable that we're going to see that on the Series X before we see it on the Switch.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, you think they're going through a Vampire the Masquerade moment? Where it's like, yeah, teams, I have top men working on this.
No, I think... Who's working on it right now? Retro Studios?
I think so, yes.
I think that they're still working on it, but it feels like it's one of those things where it's like, all right, we haven't heard about it for a year. Like, how many times did it get rebooted this year? Like, how many times have you restarted development on Metroid Prime 4? Because it's just not there yet. So, I don't know. My last prediction, though, is due to the hardware aging rapidly, game streaming will really take off this year. Seen some sort of high-profile games like the Kingdom Hearts collection getting announced for streaming, Dying Light 2. Both of those are streaming only. I think we saw a streaming version of Control this past year and like one other game. So a lot of publishers are sort of dipping their toe in the water. Because not every game is going to run like Witcher 3 on the Switch, where you're going to take the extra development time to make a worse-looking game that runs worse on the Switch. So I feel like the easier way to get your game onto a console that has sold a bajillion units is, hey, here's the version of it that's streaming. And it looks pretty good, and it doesn't run terribly. So, we'll see. Late Elf says, chip shortages push discussion of new tech to the back half of 2022, OLED Switch notwithstanding. I mean, probably. More JRPGs come to the Switch. Nintendo leans a little more heavily on those of us who grew up playing Nintendo RPGs. Hit the nostalgia button, Kronk. Maybe. I'm still not sold that Nintendo knows what goes into a good RPG. I feel like they fell into it with the latest Paper Mario game by accident, but that's been about it. If anyone is really, really good for Christmas, they'll release an N64 Classic since you can't emulate it properly on the Switch, but the controller is an additional 2/3 smaller than the original, leading to empty pox and twisted fingers, but I'll still play the Water Temple. Yeah, I'm curious to see if they would put out one of those. I feel like the window might have closed already for mini consoles, but if anybody can restart it, it might be Nintendo.
True.
T-Bomb Rock says ribbons/stickers will become an achievement-like system across the entire platform. Tom Nook will have exclusive rights. Yeah, we'll see if Nintendo cares about that this year, but the Magic 8 Ball...
Everyone's just going to keep guessing this until 1 year. That's right. It just happens, and then all of us forget about it.
Yeah, they'll hand it to the next person and say, it's your one this year for... Yeah. Switch Pro is announced officially, and it costs less than $1,000 MSRP. The price is probably the easiest part of this, and I don't think Nintendo would ever come out with a console and be like, it's $1,500, just get a second job. That seems like it goes really counter to Microsoft's handheld strategy. And Doug Bowser will cosplay as Rigi Fiume to announce the next paid tier of Nintendo Online that includes GameCube games. So, get out the cool suit, Doug Bowser, who we still don't see in any of these videos. Feyroar says the Switch Plus will be announced. I'm assuming that's their version of the next Switch. The next gen of Pokemon will be announced, which I think sort of aligns with yours, Nimp, of like, here's the next, sorry, that was you, Moon. Here's like the next generation of Pokemon games. And then GameCube games will be available on Nintendo Switch Online, which seems to be the hot prediction this year.
Everybody wants that sweet purple action.
That's right. I'm going to let it hang. Hannah says Breath of the Wild 2 will not get released in 2022. That seems like a safe one. Also see aging hardware. Switch Online gets a major overhaul of its pricing structure. That's an interesting one, because I feel like with the second tier that came along, that having another tier for it does very much feels antithetical to Nintendo's thing. And the second tier of it being very expensive, like way more expensive than the other one, feels like there's maybe a chance for an overhaul. Whether it will be positive or negative, not entirely sure, but... and his last one is the Mario movie will be... fine. Probably a safe one. It will probably be fine. Monkey Senior wraps up predictions here for Nintendo with GBA emulation added to the Nintendo Online service. Please? Question mark? I'm right there with you. Game Boy Advance has some great games. New Star Fox game announced. Do a barrel roll is said in the trailer. The second part of that is like almost a given if the first part comes true.
Yes.
And Splatoon 3 is the best shooter to release in 2022. That's a spicy prediction, man. Oof. I like it. Appreciate it. Sony for 2021. Let's start with you, Moon. Sony literally abandons VR completely, officially.
Nope.
Sort
unofficially
of.
abandoned.
Yes, I feel like PSVR is dead. Like, let's be pretty clear about that. Like, Moss Book 2 is going to be coming out. I think that's really about it. PSVR 2 was announced, but I think that thing is so far off at this point that I don't even think I wrote a prediction for it in this next segment. So, like, that thing is just like, we're making it. It'll be great. It's like, okay. Within 12 months of these new consoles being out, Sony will still not tag which versions of games are which in an easy way. This was the very early on launch issue with the PS5, where it's like, are you firing up the PS4 version? The PS5 version? Which did you install? Who knows? It's a mystery. Shockingly, they fixed that issue. Now it will tell you which version is which. You can filter. And when you go to install a game, you can choose the PS4 or PS5 version. I thought that was a shoo-in for Sony will not deal with the problem because they don't have to, but
They even got rid of the issue of when you put a PS4 disc in so you can play the PS5 version of the game, it doesn't automatically start ripping the PS4 version of the game for you.
Yeah, because before it was just like, oh, you put in No Man's Sky, we're installing both versions. It's like, please, no. God.
The first time I did that, it kept doing that, and they finally updated it so it stops doing that now.
Oh, so frustrating. And your last prediction here is they announced 2 new first-party games, not new IPs. I wrote down God of War Ragnarok, and then Insomniac announced like 30 Marvel games. So, also forgot they purchased Insomniac, so that technically counts, but yeah, I was sort of scraping for like, oh yeah, what new things didn't slip out of 2021? Oh yeah, God of War and 30 Marvel games, so enjoy Wolverine when that comes out in like 2025.
Yeah.
Nimp, you predicted PSVR will slowly be dropped by Sony. Yeah, pretty much. We're now in the like I've never heard of her phase of Sony. We saw this with the Vita, where it's like, oh, VR. No, I don't remember. New phone? Who's this? Like that sort of thing. PlayStation will keep pushing PS Now, but not sure they'll do anything with it. Yeah, Sony's not sure what they're doing with it either, other than here you can download games that came out a couple of years ago, like the hit games that came out a couple of years ago, but everybody looks at Game Pass and is like, yeah, but that stuff over there is brand new, so I'll do that instead.
Yeah,
apparently.
Yeah. And your last prediction, we'll eventually get a PlayStation Elite controller. I feel like with how much stuff is in the DualSense controller, probably not anytime soon. I feel like Sony could put out one of those that just has back paddles on it and call it a day. But They barely
released that back pedal add-on that they did for the PS4 controllers.
That's right.
Randomly for no reason.
Yeah, back pedal add-on 2. Oh, ooh. Yeah. I predicted I think Sony largely keeps their head down this year and focuses on platform stability, OS UI features, and pushes out games. I don't think Sony rocks the boat. They'll try to keep consoles flowing as fast as possible. I feel like that was a pretty safe one, and they managed to actually meet that. They're putting out consoles as fast as they can. They've actually improved the OS quite a bit in ways that I thought they were going to ignore. And it seems like they're, from that standpoint, they're in a pretty good spot. I said I think Sony continues to push their video series, this State of Play, now that the PS5 is out, but it continues to be a bit of a snooze. Yeah, knocked the ball out of the park on that one. That they continue to put those things out, and they're fine, but it's
like it feels like every 3 they'll have one good one, and then 3 kind of either blare or completely annoying ones.
Yeah, and like every once in a while they'll do like, we're putting out one this month, and it's got like 25 minutes on Horizon Forbidden West. And it's like, cool, I guess. I'm not okay. I guess they're all just kind of like a little bit boring, which shouldn't happen with a video full of video game trailers, but somehow Sony manages to do it. It's impressive. I said I think Horizon Forbidden West launches to middling reviews. I can't predict the specific reason. I guess we'll find out in video games release week next year. This year. And I said, I don't think we see a Sony equivalent to Game Pass. I think they'll stubbornly stick to PS Now. We've been seeing the rumors. I think Sony is officially no comment so far. But, it's probably going to happen at some point. All right, let's give some points to the community here. Monkey Senior says, folders are re-added to the home UI. Seriously, why did they not implement them to start? They were great on the PS4. Not yet.
Nope.
I feel like Sony wants to wait. I feel like with how Sony is like really pushing the look of the PS5's UI with like that really big splash image and like the music that plays for each individual tile. I feel like when they can make that look really splashy and 4K and HDR, they'll do it then, but not before then. Monkey Senior says no new hardware released. Yep. They put out. They're just trying to get PS5s out the door. And PS5 stock never becomes readily available at retailers. Yep. That's another, underline that +1 there. Optimus Servo says overall sales lead continues. I had to look this up. As of November 1st, 2021, PlayStation 5 has sold 12.46 million units in its first 6 months, which is the most reliable sales window we have, while the Series X has sold 7.61 million units. And that's sell-through, not sell-to. So there's a lead for now. Did Microsoft get a lead in the sort of the back half of 2021 because they can put out Series S's more easily than X's if that's possible? Who knows? But yeah. I feel like that as more consoles become available, that lead will continue to shrink, just like it does every generation.
I was gonna say, and is it a lead because someone can only manufacture so many of them?
Right.
And we all know they just get sold out by mostly scalpers. So
yeah, exactly. Game Pass clone debut, which not yet, maybe soon, but not yet. And Curveball, PS5 is seen on store shelves regularly in 2021, which unfortunately not. Someday. The Hannah says custom PS5 wings / faceplates from Sony. Boy, what a weird set of lawsuits to happen of large pieces of plastic in 2021, but not yet, but maybe. DualSense sees limited usage outside of the few games that have implemented it so far. I've been pleasantly surprised that a lot of third parties have been doing stuff, especially with like the resistive triggers and the haptic feedback. Like I wasn't expecting a lot of games like Dirt 5 had a bunch of haptic stuff in it. Like that's not exactly the game I would usually that would come out and be like, yeah, we got Rumble, whatever, who cares? But like a lot of third-party devs, especially, have been really putting in some work.
So to the point that going from a PS4 version of a game to a PS5 version of the game, and then all of a sudden having that there and having to get used to that because it wasn't there before.
Yeah, like firing up No Man's Sky for the first time and taking off in your ship, and you're like, whoa, okay, you did some stuff, cool. So shockingly, that one was wrong, which I thought that was another shoo-in. Their PS5 NVMe storage certification process remains confusing. It seems like once that came out of beta, that was a solved problem. Like, Western Digital is like, buy this one, buy this heatsink, put it in. Like, Seagate was like, buy this one, buy this heatsink, put it in. Like, everybody has sort of, all the manufacturers have figured it out, and once it came out of beta, it was like, yeah, just toss the thing in there, turn on your PS5, hit the OK button, and it figures the whole thing out. So
now it's just an issue of finding one and fighting with yourself if you want to spend that kind of money on it.
Oh my god, they're still so expensive. Gosh. Yeah. T-Bomb Rock says no PSVR support for the PS5. I mean, the PSVR 1 works with it, surprisingly. So I guess that's not true. This one's a weird one though, because it's not. There's no like I guess there's like official support, but there's no PSVR 2. Yeah, I don't know.
Half point.
Yeah, I'll give it a half point. Sure. We are nothing but generous. Sony will finally offer to correct the stick placement of offset thumbsticks. They are never budging on that at this point. It's been, what, 25 years? Like, they're not... Look, they messed up the X button and circle button stuff in Japan. That is a big enough issue. They are not changing the sticks anytime soon. Like, you can buy a SCUF controller if you're looking for offset sticks at this point.
Yep.
We will have a first-party wrestling game of some type in 2021. I don't think we saw like any wrestling games in general. There was that like
5 games that came out for the.
Yeah, like we saw that super deformed WWE game, but I think that was really it. All right, Sony in 2022, Moon. What are your predictions for Big Blue?
Most of these can be considered under Sony gonna Sony. I should probably say,
as is our tradition.
Yeah. So their response to Game Pass, whatever it's called, comes out and is tiered confusingly and named confusingly and deployed weirdly.
You know what? That's probably a safe bet. Yeah, I'd probably put money on all 3 of those.
Which is funny because they're the 3 things that you spend hundreds of millions of dollars as a giant corporation making sure that stuff is crystal clear.
Yeah,
I'm looking at you, Xbox One, OG Xbox One.
I feel like Sony is like market testing. Nah, I'm good.
A release of at least 3 first or second party games, which are, and I'm going to steal this from Girlfriend Reviews here, look at the booty shooty games.
Okay, I don't know what that means.
A look at the booty shooty is when you look at the character's booty while you shooty. So, Uncharted.
Oh, so Sony third-person, over-the-shoulder shooting character action games.
A look at the booty shooty, yes.
Right.
Which is the best terminology for that kind of game I've ever had. Resident Evil 4 is a kind of look at the booty shooty because there's not enough booty. There's just shoulders.
I see.
So at least 3.
Okay.
At least 3.
I feel like that's another safe Sony's going to put out Sony games one, but you never know.
Yeah. If Forbidden West comes out, that's one of the 3 done. So therefore, I'm fine. Stocking issues continue to at least halfway through the year for the PlayStation 5. Because I don't know how long this shortage is going to go on. I could probably say 75% of the year, 100% of the year, and still be right on this.
Yeah.
But I'm going to safe bet it and go 50% of the year.
Yep.
Please get rid of that aside. I hate the way that thing looks.
What, the PS5?
Yeah.
Yeah, him big. It's real. Unboxing my wife's PS5 is just like, yeah, man, this thing has been sitting in my entertainment center for, the past year, and I don't really look at it. But yeah, him big. Like, it's...
As someone who moved boxes into totes recently, I couldn't find a whole lot of things to fit in with the PS5 box.
Right. Oh, man. All right, Nimp, what are your predictions for 2022?
All right. My first prediction for 2022 for PlayStation is that their Game Pass, just like Moon said, isn't going to be great. It's going to come out, and no one's really going to know what to do with it.
Right.
The next one that I have that kind of goes with that is that with the power of Azure, PlayStation Now will be fixed, and everything online that everyone has complained about, especially with this possible Game Pass competitor, is going to fall short of what everyone wants it to be. But surprisingly, everything is going to work better than it has up to this point.
Right, so you're talking specifically about the streaming version of PS Now?
Yep.
Because if PS Now wasn't confusing enough, there's the streaming version and the download version. And I totally forgot that Microsoft's Azure team and Sony have teamed up to like move all that infrastructure over to Azure. I forgot about that. Yeah.
And then my last one was that we will finally get folders back.
Nice. That'd be okay. Yeah. Or at least give me the option to show all of my games on the dashboard again. Don't restrict me to just the 8. As soon as they're off that main screen, I could forget about them completely. That's a me problem, but help me, Sony. My predictions are Sony continues to struggle with chip shortages the entire year. I think even if other manufacturers continue to see a lot of their chip shortages ease up a little bit, I think something about the PS5 and something about Sony is going to kind of stretch the entire year. I think PSVR 2 gets a release window, but it won't be in 2022. I think this year, I think they will probably start talking about, like, here's our design and like the tent poles for PSVR 2. Like, we want it to be this, we want it to be that, here's the controllers, here's the stuff. But I don't think they're going to have anything. Like, they'll see, we'll show you more info at E3 2023. They're not, it's not anywhere close to being done. Here's my predictions for Game Pass competitor. I have a very specific a timeline of events. I think it quickly gets leaked, then immediately announced, then enters beta very quickly after that, and launches wide a few months after that. So I think it's going to follow the typical things of, like, someone at, like, Kotaku releases a news story where it's like, they're going to announce it next week. So Sony's like, fine, the video is coming out today. Thank you, everyone. And then it just kind of goes into beta and goes wide as quick as they can.
So you think they're going to do an old school Bethesda release where, like, it leaks, they announce, and then 6 months later it's out for good?
Yeah, like they're gonna move pretty quickly on it, because I think with how big Game Pass is, I don't think they can really drag their feet on it unless the beta is very big. Like, if they open the beta up to every PlayStation Plus subscriber, or like every current PS Now subscriber, that's not even a beta anymore. But it's, I think they'll push it pretty wide pretty quickly. I think it's going to be okay, but I don't think they're going to have the big titles at launch like Game Pass does. I think there's going to be like those small subset of games where it's like, yeah, God of War Ragnarok isn't going to come out there, and maybe in 2023 we'll see Horizon Forbidden West, and the next Wolverine's definitely not coming out on there. It's like, yeah, but those are the ones I want the subscription for. Like, there's always going to be the ones where it's like, this is not going to be showing up on Sony Pass for the 6 months exclusivity window. So
I think the thing that Sony has above Microsoft in this regard is they have games going back to PlayStation 1 that they can pull out the core data to put on their service. That is their big strength. Why they've never leveraged it as hard and as strong as they can, I don't know.
Yeah, the last time they did was
that
like
has with licensing issues.
Sure, but like
I know some of that's pretty muddled with the
for sure.
very old generations.
I feel like the last time they really did that was like the PSP, where like you can play PS1 games on it. It's like great, and they're like, yeah, like most of them. It's like, oh, crap. Okay, great. Let's talk about the community's predictions. Late Elf says Sony gives us some more of that old school remaster Parasite, old school remaster goodness. Parasite Eve would be welcome. I'd settle for a siphon filter. I mean,
dude, siphon filter with that taser.
That'd be great. Those wiggly hips. Mitochondria rise up and cover the surface of Sony HQ in Japan, leaving 3 remaining employees and 1 janitor trapped inside. The janitor sells you weapons upgrades for subway tokens. Probably not going to happen, but yeah. And Sony brings back the PS Vita because it's just the right thing to do. That was all in caps. We'll see. You never know with Sony. They could come out and it'd be $800, but yeah, we'll see. T-Bomb Rock says Sony will officially announce their version of Game Pass with a rebranded name. It will include their anime streaming services, Funimation and Crunchyroll. I forgot they bought them. That seems like something that they can start bundling into kind of an overall subscription program that would kind of separate them from Microsoft, where Microsoft's big thing has been play these games, pick up your save on any platform, switch it and swap it, no big deal. But Sony might be able to say like, yeah, you get movies and you get anime and these games and PS1 games. And
Game Pass does have, not necessarily TV shows or movies or anything, but Game Pass has what is that? The extra stuff that you can pick up for games. What do they call
it's
that?
like their promotion stuff.
Like the rewards.
Yeah, something like that. Like I just got like the Halo, the
skin. Green gun. Yeah, it's
perks. That's what it is. Game Pass perks.
Yeah, because PlayStation has that with PS Plus too. I feel like both of them sort of unveiled them at the same time. But those are usually pretty fun.
It was like 3 months of Spotify or something like that with perks, and so they're kind of branching out. I don't know how much they're advertising it. I just hear about it from my son when he digs around in the menus.
Right. Sony will bundle the service to download or stream Sony-owned movies in their Game Pass service as an added value. I mean, I feel like that would be a pretty big bonus as Microsoft continues to kind of pull away from the Xbox as a media platform. I feel like that could be a differentiator for Sony to lean in and be like, yeah, you want to watch all this cool Sony stuff? Whatever, we own it. Here's the PS5 app. That would be interesting.
It makes me laugh because that's always like we said, Sony's got a long history in video games, but they also have this entire other 2 sections of their business they could leverage this stuff for.
I mean, like, if you look at Sony, it's movies, TV, music. I mean, like, they own and produce a whole bunch of stuff, and unsurprisingly, it seems like no one wants to talk to each other. So, Sony gonna Sony. Sony will partner with Microsoft to make game studios and publishing less toxic and safer. That's an interesting one. I feel like if the 2 of them would join forces, that would be a pretty positive thing to do, where it's like, hey, if you're going to be gross, you're not going to be on the 2 biggest platforms. So maybe fix your workplaces for real this time.
Start having a workplace standard finally.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Fayror says a smaller PS5 will be announced. I feel like the next PS5 that's going to come out, that's probably your easy win of just like, it's 50% smaller. It's still the same console. Don't worry about the power. It's way smaller.
That's the whole reason I hunted down this first run of PS5s, because I did not want the PlayStation 5S. I wanted the big thing.
Yeah. Final Fantasy 16 will be postponed. I'm starting to get a little bit of a side eye with Square for Final Fantasy 16, because like, hey man, where is that thing? You haven't really talked about that in like since E3, and that wasn't a lot. So you still doing okay over there, Square? Like everything fine?
No.
No, definitely not. Plus, Final Fantasy 15 is, or Final Fantasy, 15 is just 14. Sorry, is just like killing it. So 16 can wait. And no good improvements will come to Sony systems. I mean, I hope not, but Sony could just shoot themselves in the foot again. It's like, we're doing really great. Bam. No patches, no firmware updates for PS5 this year. It's like, okay, great. Thanks. Also put out VRR, please. Thank you. The Hannah says PS5 will remain difficult to get throughout the year unless the chip shortage, I'm not going to be able to say that correctly this episode, and supply chain issues get resolved. Their newly announced service to compete with Game Pass, ... will not compete well with Game Pass. And still no officially licensed replacement panels for PS5, which that's probably a safe one. Also, like, a lot of people want replacement panels for the PS5, and that seems to be a solution looking for a problem. That's a really weird request. Monkey Senior says the Game Pass equivalent is actually good. Parenthetically, decent pricing, good games. That'd be nice.
Competition breeds success.
Yeah. PS5s are still not readily available, which hopefully is not the case, but that seems like a safe bet. And PSVR 2 doesn't release this year. Let's talk about our general and industry predictions for 2021. Starting with you, Moon. No major lawsuits are settled. You were specifically talking about Apple and Epic, which sort of settled.
In my defense,
yeah,
it wasn't settled. It argued to the last.
Yeah, there was a sort of decision made, and then a couple weeks ago, just as we were ready to go on vacation, Apple got like an extended ruling to push out having to actually do anything, so it's just going to keep limping on for like as long as humanly possible, which just sucks. Yeah. Twitch issues at least 3 quote-unquote apologies. I have 3 right here that I found. Twitch apologizes for mishandling music copyright by deleting hundreds of thousands of clips. Number 2, Twitch apologizes for using the term women, spelled WOMXN, following a tense social media backlash. If you didn't know, that can be seen as transphobic. And number 3, Twitch apologizes for getting super hacked. That's your 3. And hey, those all just happen in like the last 3 months.
We're not even talking about like the hate raids on the bot raids.
There's
on
plenty of
types of gamers.
Yep, those are just the most recent ones. So, so good. Your also final predictions here is we can leave the house. Quote, hopefully that's a free space. End quote. Yeah. Nimp, you predicted streaming will continue to be a thing between Luna, Stadia, etc. All those services are just kind of motoring. Like, they're alive.
I actually asked somebody about this yesterday. Did Luna ever get released?
Yep. Yeah, you get Luna by buying the controller from Amazon, and then you pay $5 or $6 a month.
Okay. I don't know who I was talking to, but that randomly came up like in the last 2-3 days, and I'm like, I'm not even sure that came out.
The biggest problem has been they sort of Sony'd the tier system, where it's like, here's the $6 a month one, here's a $10 a month one, and here's like, you can pay $3 more a month to get some Ubisoft games, and then a couple more dollars a month to like, and it's just like, okay, cool, it's just a cable package, great, thanks. Your next prediction here was mobile games will continue to be the biggest thing ever. That has been pretty much, I mean, Genshin Impact largely has led the charge in 2021. I can
do you 3 better.
Okay.
The Final Fantasy re-releases.
Oh, sure. Yep. Those have done well on mobile. I wrote down Genshin Impact is the largest, most money-making game in the world right now.
Oh, yeah.
PUBG and Call of Duty Mobile continue to be huge all over the world, and Roblox is still this just like massively huge game. So, yes, mobile games have still continued to be even bigger than before. I predicted Apple and Epic's lawsuit continues to drag out throughout the entire year. Yeah, that was That was a safe one. I wrote down, I have no idea what will happen this year with E3 this year. Here's the good thing: ESA didn't either. They couldn't figure that one out until literally the last minute, and they're like, it's online now? And was like, never mind, we're just putting our own trailer. We have a Twitch account, whatever. Square Enix announces the release date for Final Fantasy VII Remake coming in 2022. It will not come out on previous gen consoles. Swing and a miss on that one. That one actually came out, and came out for everything. Amazon's Luna carves out a nice slice of the market, but the different subscription plans / tiers remain a confusing sticking point. During my research, I wrote down crickets. Nimp just asked if it had actually come out, so I think that's probably all the indication you need to know. And I said Stadia makes a big change to draw in new players, but it's too late. They didn't even do that. So they made no changes. I think the service has like 180 games on it now, so it has a lot, but nobody cares, including Google. So, Community Monkey Senior says Amazon's Luna actually does pretty well. Sadly, can't give him a point for that one, unfortunately. Binding of Isaac Repentance is as great as it looks. Gives trouble to Boston and Moon on whether or not it's big / different enough to allow onto their Game of the Year list because it's a DLC. The Nimp gives in, tries it out again, and loves it.
I would give him half a point because I just listened to We Roguelike It, and you two were debating about if there was enough difference for you to replay it. And that you were looking forward to Moon going back through with how everything has changed for the items now. I think it was something about the glass cannon or something.
It was, yeah. And it is as great as it looks. So, yeah, I give it a half point on that. Boston creates at least one new podcast series. That's not fair, because I got a problem, man. And yes, that's a +1.
Wait, what one did you...
Critical Misses started this year.
Critical Misses started last year, dude.
Aha! I didn't make one this year. I gotcha. Or did I get myself? I'm not sure. But yes,
Destiny podcast is just around the corner.
Oh my god! Don't
say that. Do not spawn that into this.
I haven't figured out how to make it work, which is why I haven't suggested it. Also, we're redlined on content. Otherwise, it absolutely would have happened.
Patreon.com/E1M1. If you want to get us up to like a livable wage, we'll do a Destiny podcast for you. No problem.
Yeah, I would definitely
quit my job and play Destiny full time.
Yeah. Don't threaten me with a good time. Optimus Servo says continued hardware shortages. That's definitely a +1. Astronomical digital sales numbers. That's an interesting one, because I feel like we saw astronomical Switch sales numbers, like for physical hardware, but I'm not sure if that directly translated into a high attach rate.
Yeah. I know that I have bought more digitally just because it's been easier. You know, because COVID and I don't want to see people.
And also, for most of the year, the PS5 has been stupid about how it installs games. So just buy the PS5 version digitally and not worry about it.
Like, I've realized I don't have a single Series X physical game. I've got a bunch for the PlayStation 5, but like everything's been through Game Pass so far. So
yeah, I largely don't buy anything. Like, I bought Lake this year, but that wasn't on Game Pass. So like, yeah. Continuation.
By the way, just so you know, Critical Misses, the introduction debuted to the Patronus feed May 5th, 2020.
Oh boy, 2021 was a long, short year. Interesting. And Optimus Servo says continuation of all digital game shows / expos in 2021. I'm going to give him a point for that one, because for 9/10 of the year, that was the case. The Game Awards in early December was in person, but even that was a lot of people saying like, "Yeah, I'm not going to that because it's in person, so I'm gonna stay home." Well, like even E3 and TGS and all that stuff was digital this year. The Hannah says inshore games will be quiet due to the impact of COVID. I don't know what that means. I copied that straight from last year's episode, and it sounded like last year we didn't know what that meant either, so sorry, Hannah. Sega Dreamcast Mini announced and released. Sadly, no. And Gabe Newell knife smuggling scandal, which is a very fun five-word sentence to say, but I didn't hear from Gaben much this year. He and his knives were safely at home. T-Bomb Rock says 2 or more streaming services will blend into Game Pass Ultimate. We did talk earlier about like EA Play and some Ubisoft games joined Game Pass, but we didn't see like Stadia as part of it, and you get a subscription to Luna or anything like that. Like all of them are so far pretty separate. Until Microsoft buys, Amazon's Luna division or something. Someone will offer a VR headset that's completely wireless and smaller, closer to large ski goggles. I looked, and the Oculus Quest 2 was released late 2020, and that seems to really be the only one that isn't at least partially tethered, which is still kind of surprising. I thought most of them would be largely untethered at this point, but like the HTC one and the Valve one and all that are all tethered.
It may just have to do with battery production too.
Yeah, chip shortages it's not just chip shortages, it's like component shortages across the board. So like everything's getting. So I'm sure a bunch of companies are like, yeah, when I can get like 1 million of these parts, I'm ready to make a headset, but we'll find out at some point. And Funimation will be included with PS Plus. I did a lot of Googling on this one. This continues to be a rumor, but still doesn't look like anything concrete, which is still seems like a really weird miss for Sony, where it's like, yeah, we bought these anime streaming things. Now they're on your, like, they have PS4 and PS5 apps, but like, why bundle that stuff up, man? Like, let's get in there.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm still surprised they just didn't just shutter Crunchyroll when they bought it.
100%. I think Crunchyroll is. I get the impression Crunchyroll is a lot bigger than I'm expecting, especially with the popularity of Ruby.
It's the Roblox of anime.
Yeah, go ahead.
From what I had understood, the vast majority of its business was just the streaming service, which Funimation already has. So
right.
Yeah, I know that they do like a bunch of other fun stuff with marketing and merchandising now and all that stuff.
And
they're a lot
like
bigger than they used to be.
Original content and stuff like that. Yeah. So I think they are funding and producing a lot more anime themselves, which is probably like the next step for them. All right, let's talk about industry and general stuff for 2022. Let's start with you, Moon. You're muted.
Of course I am. Thank you. I'll be honest, I only have a few things here.
Okay.
Mobile phone gaming continues to be the best/worst. The best makes the most money. Mm-hmm. The worst because it's stricken with the mobile phone stuff.
Right.
There is no mobile revolution around the corner. We're not going to suddenly start paying $6 for things with no ads because that ship has firmly sailed out the window.
And we'll probably still continue to see like the cream of the crop where it's like, oh man, you gotta play this game. It's incredible. And we'll see like a couple of those a year, and the rest of them are going to be your pretty stereotypical mobile stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I've got is all VR related.
Okay.
Because why not? Is number one, still minimal inside out tracking capabilities.
Gotcha.
So nothing super high end that's doing the best kind of VR, because let's face it, the world is a nightmare and nobody has space anymore to do VR stuff. Nobody had space when VR came around, let alone now when everything's got so much worse.
We're millennials. We don't have space.
Yes. And just because I couldn't help but make the reference, stop trying to make VR happen.
Just let it be a niche. It's fine. It's not a problem.
I don't care about no metaverse meetings. I don't care about my stupid third-person perspective bubble that's got my name above it, like interacting with people in a virtual space. These people we're rapidly heading towards Ready Player One, and not in a good way.
No, yeah, 100%. Nimp, what are your predictions?
I have that the video game metaverse gets a hard push towards NFTs. Because that
sadly
just seems to be a thing that will not effing go away.
It is the latest Ponzi scheme for suckers, so someone's going to try and cash out.
And then my actual last one is that console manufacturers are going to keep, with the shortages and stuff like that, they're going to keep refining and looking for cheaper, smaller parts that they can get a hold of to put in the new consoles. Obviously, the chips can't really do anything about that. However, like we've already started seeing with some PS5s, they've got the smaller I can't think cooling system.
Yeah,
the heat sink. There we go.
Right.
So yeah, and just I'm thinking they're going to try to find ways to minimize the cost of what's already stupid expensive by trying to cut costs in other ways that
try to be a little more fluid with motherboard design. Where it's we can use this, that'll be fine.
Yeah, and see if they can get with other suppliers too to kind of work around some of the shortages when they actually do have some components that they can ship with.
Right.
So,
right. My predictions this year are chip shortages are rough throughout the first half of the year, but I think they're going to ease up as the second half of the year stretches on. This is a little bit of optimism from me, but it would be nice to see if like everything starts sort of smoothing over as the year continues to go on. But we'll see. We might have a hearty laugh about this time in 2022. We'll see one more major game streaming service get announced before companies realize we are well past the saturation point. I think...
Dude, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Paramount Plus exists.
No, I think we're going to see one more from like a publisher that has no business being in it. Like Annapurna is going to announce one that's like not going to go anywhere. It's not even going to be like Konami announces it, Sega announces it, like a larger one. I think someone's going to do it and just going to be like, all right, that's our limit. We're well past it.
Done one yet?
Well, they joked about their Max Pass Plus this last year in E3. So probably won't really be doing one, but who knows with them.
But they'll let you buy into a fake one.
That's right. Sure will.
Dude, I almost bought like a $700 suit, so...
That's right. It was very purple. It was pretty cool.
I remember that.
Yeah. My last prediction here requires a little bit of explanation. I think we will see the first big NFT scam hit a major publisher. Scam is the operative word there. NFTs are a scam on the surface, but what I'm talking about is specifically, my kid bought a $60 game from Sony. It was an accident. I was able to refund that. My kid bought a $1,000 gun skin in the new Tom Clancy game as an NFT. What do you mean I can't get a refund on that? What does the blockchain mean? So I feel like
Ubisoft to the people who are going down that bridge.
Right. And I feel like 2022, we're going to see like the FIFA card packs. You know, that happened a couple of years ago. Where it's like, my kid spent £2,000 on card packs. You won't give me my money back. I feel like there's going to be one of those with NFT something in a video game that's going to hit really hard this year, in a very similar way. I wish it wasn't a thing, and I wish all that stuff would just go away, but I think the reality of it is 2022 is going to be a very, unfortunately, big year for NFTs in games, especially live service games, and one of them is going to get real bad, and it's going to be bad.
It feels like that's all anyone is waiting for right now.
Yeah.
We're already past the point of saying nobody is asking for this.
Right. And I feel like we're just waiting for that big news story to drop. from somewhere. Let's talk about
because of horse armor.
Yep.
Yeah, you just straight line back to horse armor. Thanks, Bethesda. Let's talk about our community predictions for. Go ahead.
This is a straight line from two things: horse armor and Mass Effect 3 ending, because it's paid DLC mixed with the vocal minority complaining as loud as they can about stuff until they get their way.
Yeah, famously, the Mass Effect 3 choices were like a red path, a blue path, and a monkey avatar. So, like, it's just it's a direct line. Let's talk about our community predictions for 2022. Late Elf starts with arcade one-up machines adopt the card swipe reader seen in arcades, meaning your games now cost Firstborn and $2.50 per play. I hope not, but that would be really great. Where it's like, come on over to my house. Like, I got in my garage, I got one of these cards, one of these arcade machines. Don't forget your credit card. Bye. Black Panther 2 gets pushed back to May 2023, citing creative differences with the force of gravity. I guess this means the movie. I'm not. I'm not up on the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as the kids call it. So I'm not entirely sure.
I was going to say, because the actor who originally played him died of cancer, correct?
He did, yeah.
Yes.
There's a lot of controversy over that second movie anyway, so that's going to get delayed quite a bit. And then this one's probably a safe one. Boston finds another soul to suck into Destiny 2 right on time with the next expansion release. Drifter voice, all right. Let's see what we've got. Come on, guys. We've got cookies. So
this comes out just in time for Rob to hear it. So
yeah, interesting.
I'm just saying. If
there's never been a better time.
And there's a lot of brains that you can eat in Destiny. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Interesting. T-Bomb Rock says no less than 3 large companies will launch a streaming service for games as the shortages of new GPUs continue. That's an interesting twist on it, where it's like, hey man, like you can't get the new GPUs. You got a web browser, so Asus is more than happy to stream your brand new games for you. So I don't know. GeForce Now has had sort of a rocky go of it the entire time. So I'm not sure if anyone else wants to jump on that grenade. Ubisoft's subscription service will come to consoles in some form this year. That's an interesting one. I wonder if Ubisoft has been trying to do that. I feel like they probably have wanted to, because they want to get that thing out to as many people as possible. But I don't know if the Uplay Plus, is that what it's probably, that's probably what it calls. Everyone just puts plus on the end of it anyways. You're listening to TVGP Plus is what I should have called the Patreon.
We still can. We have the power.
That's right. I have the edit button. Yeah, we'll see if that one comes true. That seems like a pretty likely one. King of Fighters will have success and start a trend of fighting games going multi-platform with crossplay in an effort to grow the fighting game community. I would like to see that. I feel like there's always been this giant fracture between multi-platform fighting games that rollback netcode and better online infrastructures and stuff can probably ease a lot of that stuff. So why not put in crossplay? Why not put in cross save? That should be in most stuff. So, you know. Feyroar says roguelikes will continue to be really popular. Selfishly, I hope so. I like roguelikes a lot. One might say we roguelike them. This year's thank you. Tipper waitress, be here all week. This year's trend will continue to be roguelikes mixed with Left 4 Dead style elements of co-op. Interesting. Yeah, I wonder if we're going to see, with how big Returnal was this past year, I wonder if we're going to see more kind of big budget roguelikes that are kind of dipping their toe into a bunch of other kind of subgenres.
Well, would you consider, I don't know much about it because I haven't been paying attention, would Deathloop be kind of like a roguelike?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are sort of treating that as a roguelike, yeah.
So you say a lot of people are treating it that way. What do you two think, knowing what you know about it?
I would consider it a roguelike. Yeah,
Okay.
because you're doing multiple runs to like either farm stuff or learn things. There's no real major penalty for death. So,
Okay.
yeah, I think that's interesting. I wonder if someone will crack the code of here's kind of a roguelike randomized thing with a Left 4 Dead style game. And Feywer says TVGP will hit 790 episodes. Yeah, probably. Doing the quick napkin math here. I think it will. I think by this time next year will be around that number.
If we're including Patronus content, that's way too low of a number, dude.
Yeah. The Hannah says Bobby Kotick will not be Activision's CEO by the end of 2022. I mean, that would be great. That would be great.
It's looking like possibly he won't make it to 2021.
Yeah, that would also be great. Yeah. 2022 will be lighter on major releases due to COVID and other factors impacting development speed. Yeah, I wonder how much the delays of games from 21 to 22 is going to push anything that was going to come out this year further into 2023. At least just to be safe. It'll be an interesting year. PC part prices will continue to be unreasonable. Yes. Sadly, probably. It's rough out there, man. Monkey Senior says E3 will actually have their in-person event happen. At the very least, they are sure going to try.
Yeah.
Probably ill-advised, but they're going to give it a shot. Square make the bizarre decision to not release the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters on other platforms.
You can almost 100% see that.
Yeah, like, it's one of those things where it's like, this seems like a slam dunk of just putting all 6 of them on every platform, but it is Square Enix, so...
The fact that they did mobile and PC is very shocking.
Well, I always thought they did both of those because there's a lot less approval you need to get on both of those platforms, so they can put out 6 of them without having to spend, like, $50,000 to put out each one. I'm hoping that they'll just do the approval, do the certification for the whole package on the other platforms, since that's harder to do. But Square might just shrug and be like, whatever.
Yeah.
We put them out. You guys can figure it out. So, who knows? And Monkey says, probably shooting myself in the foot with this one, but I can't think of anything else. No big games with actual release dates are delayed. That would be great. I mean,
that's a big risk. Starfield's slated for next year.
I know. Starfield's
November.
November of this year is like...
Starfield is slated for this year. That's what I'm saying. That's a big risk. That's a real easy February 22nd, 2023 push is all I'm saying.
They keep coming out and saying, like, no, it is coming out November 11th, 2022. And I'm like, man, you gotta just say you're shooting for it. Like, you're setting yourself up for failure.
At the time for that video that they released, they were saying that they were just in production for it, but it didn't sound like they had a whole lot of anything.
No, they're like, it's in-game
supposed to be
footage.
as open universe as they're saying it's going to be. If that thing comes out in November, it's going to be broke as hell.
Yeah, like, you're just setting yourself up for, like, a No Man's Sky launch thing, where it's like, you guys promised, and it's like, well, we didn't say anything.
That would be a No Man's Sky. That's just a Bethesda thing now. It's always been a Bethesda thing.
Yeah, the OG No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky Bethesda.
Yeah, like, oh, you bought Skyrim for a PS3. Ooh, I got real bad news for you. It doesn't work.
At all.
Yeah, man.
And that was never fixed.
No, they couldn't fix it. They were just like, sell chip RAM.
Have a big inventory.
I was say that was the memory leak issue.
Yeah, don't save a lot. That really is bad. It's like, oh,
stop hoarding so much cheese.
I will never tell someone to stop doing that. All right, before we talk about the games we're looking forward to in 2022, let's crown our most correctest of 2021. I have my notebook here.
I like how his face suddenly glowed like an angel appeared as soon as he said the most bestest.
The sacred texts. T-Bomb Rock's coming in 3rd place here with 2 points. It's a very low-scoring year this year because 2021 was wild, to put it mildly.
A lot of things out of everyone's control.
That's right. Tied for second place, Monkey Senior and the Hannah, which means first place with 3.5 points, Optimus Servo. Optimus Servo, you are the most correctest of 2021. Congratulations. Your crown is in the mail. It's not. I'm sorry. Let's talk about the games we're looking forward to in 2022. Moon, let's start with you.
Oh boy. And please consider A, recording time. B, I have been busy. Halo Infinite.
I thought you were gonna
current year games that we're looking forward to next year.
Yeah. Well, just like top 10, anything that came out in December is really, it essentially didn't come out this year. By
the letter of the law, I am correct.
Yes, you are correct.
I'm looking forward to for next year.
I cannot fault you. Yeah. Oh man.
Dying Light 2.
Okay. Yep.
Gotham Knights.
Question mark?
Question mark? Okay, I confused myself then because I was like, VTMB2, huh? That's Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2.
Gotcha.
Tunic.
Yes. Announced for March 16th, something? Not February 22nd? I like it.
Yep, for those of you who can't remember, that's the Fox isometric Zelda game with the weird style.
Cute Fox
Pyramid
Dark Souls.
Grass.
Yeah.
The Gunk. I know.
Yes.
Technically, I'm correct again. Thank you very much.
It came out in December.
This came out late November, but I'm still counting it XO1 because I haven't been able to play that yet for a specific reason.
Right.
Stalker 2?
Question mark?
Question marks?
Yep.
Dead Space.
The remake. Yeah. All right. Okay. I forgot about that.
Don't get me wrong. I slept on the Mass Effect remaster.
Sure.
If Dead Space remaster comes out and it plays good, I ain't gonna sleep on that because that's like one of my favorite series.
Much shorter game, probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, I'm definitely not gonna sleep on that because it's scary.
Hey, all right. Hey, I like it.
I was doing an impression of Boston for a second. This is where people start to laugh. The Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My son has been disappointed by how many times that has been pushed back. Surprisingly.
Yeah. I would like that to come out. I would like to play that, please.
And as someone who has already played all of those games several times, I've done that trench run like 9 times in Lego version alone.
100%.
And I still want to play him again.
Yep. I'm right there with you. I don't have it on my list. I forgot about that, but yes, right there.
So sure, why not?
Yeah.
Whatever Resident Evil game comes out, because they've released one every year for the past like 5 years, and it always makes my top 10.
Is it 4? Is it 9? Who
That's
knows?
the question, isn't it? Right. Which one is it?
Is it a multiplayer spin-off again? Who knows?
Oh, I hope not.
Is that your roguelike Left 4 Dead game? Is it Resident Evil?
No, funnily enough, Darktide is scheduled to come out next year.
Oh, wow. I forgot about that.
Which is the Warhammer 40k Left 4 Dead game.
That could be pretty cool.
Yeah, especially if you start getting some of those Space Marine type guns. I'll take that in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you're not a Space Marine though, because the Space Marines are whatever. Moving on. My final game I'm looking forward to, because it's never coming out next year, is Redfall. And for those of you who can't remember, because it's a generic name, that's the new Arcane game.
Oh, right, that multiplayer powers vampire thing? Yeah.
Yep, it looks an awful lot like Vampire the Masquerade multiplayer game.
Which I'm confused by because the Vampire the Masquerade multiplayer battle royale thing is coming out this year. So, okay, Redfall. I'll try to remember that one. All right, Nimp, what do you have that you're looking forward to?
All right, so because all of a sudden Souls games are starting to sink their claws into me again, Elden Ring.
Ah, yes.
The open world Souls-like game just looks very interesting to play.
Yeah.
God of War Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to expect with that game, but it seems like it's going to be a ride.
It's a safe assumption it's probably going to be pretty good.
Because there's so many directions that they can take that story right now.
Right.
That any one of them or all of them would just be very awesome.
Yep.
Everspace 2 ?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be nice.
Actually there, yeah. Pokemon Legends that we were talking about, that seems kind of interesting. I don't know if I'm actually gonna play it, but I know my kids really want to play it, so I can do it through them at least.
Right.
Breath of the Wild 2 again. ?
Right. Hopefully.
Yeah. Star Ocean: The Divine Force, because one of these times Tri-Ace has to accidentally get one of these right.
They're gonna make a good one of these, by God.
Yeah, and I will keep buying it and be like, no, this is crap.
Yep, no, we'll try the next one.
Yeah. And then my last one, Starfield. ?
Fingers crossed. Yeah.
That's all I got.
Mine starts off with the perennial choice until it actually comes out, Skull and Bones. Where are you? You're not going to be good, but come out so I can at least play you. Horizon Forbidden West. That seems like it's a lock for this year. It comes out 2 days before my next game, Destiny 2: The Witch Queen. So I'll play a little bit of Horizon and then still too much Destiny.
And you're gone forever.
Yeah. Triangle Strategy is supposed to come out. Square Enix's new turn-based SRPG, which I knew they were going to keep that name because it's too stupid. So we'll see from the Octopath Traveler team. Man. Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin. Everything they keep showing off with that game is insane. The main character in a cutscene puts in his headphones from a smartphone and puts on some butt rock and walks away in the middle of a cutscene. This game looks incredible, and I need to know what it is. I'm deathly curious. Also wrote Starfield with ? I haven't been in love with the last couple of Bethesda games, but you want to do a Fallout in space, and my ears perk up, so please be good. Forspoken, Square Enix's open world, I think. RPG battler, maybe?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it looks cool. It looks like a different thing. I'm still very curious to see what that's going to be. Also had God of War Ragnarok, Little Devil Inside. Every time they show that game off, it looks way more like an indie game than I am way into. So I'm hoping that turns out to be a great thing. Metal Slug Tactics, I believe, comes out this year. And that looks like a hot banger of a game in a weird peanut butter and chocolate combo that seems to be made for me. Oxenfree 2, Lost Signals, I believe is still scheduled for this year. As like Oxenfree superfan number 1. Very excited. My tentative game of the year for 2022, Stray, should come out. The third-person cat action adventure game.
Oh, I forgot about Stray.
With a cool cyber backpack. I would like to.
I sent you another one, I think. Like another one, which is a
yeah. What did you send me? I'm not gonna remember what that's called, but there was another one where it's like, oh yeah, all right. Yeah, the one they announced it during the last Wholesome Games Direct where you're playing as a black cat. It's like a around the town adventure game. And my last game that I'm genuinely surprised you forgot about, Moon, 2 Point Campus.
No, I didn't forget about it.
Okay.
It's going to be one of those games where I forget about it until it comes out.
Yeah.
Then, I'm going to play it for 10 minutes, a little bit, think, I'll get back to this, and never play it again.
Right. Giggle at Night School again. Night School with a K, and be like, hee, they still got it.
Yeah.
Great.
And see what else they've got, because that's a lot of puns they've never done before.
Oh, man, I'm so looking forward to it. Jeez. All right, well, thank you very much, everyone. That's, about 2 hours, like expected. Thank you for listening. This sort of heralds the end of our vacation. These are the the 2 special episodes we release at the end of the year while we're sort of taking a breather, which means next week's episode we will be back. Have we played a bunch of games over the break? Or have we decided not to and just take a little breather? Who knows? Find out next week. And we'll see you then. Bye.
The Silver Surfer approaches.